Well, our first guest is Mr. Tyrone Docherty. He's the CEO of a company called Deerhorn Capital Incorporated. They're listed in Canada, stock symbol DHC. Here in the United States, GODYF. Welcome back to the program, Ty.
Pleasure to come on. It's been a while, but lots to talk about.
Well, tell me what's new at the company.
Well, we announced last week that one of our latest applications we're looking at is bringing COVID-related relief to parts of Canada, starting with the First Nations, Aboriginals, and going on and having it opportunities with the various provincial governments to bring in moderately priced equipment from Korea, which has been FDA approved through partners in the United States based in Houston, Texas, a company called Tokimis Biotech, who happen to be shareholders of Deerhorn, and they like what we've done with our First Nations approach last year with the salmon gold, and they thought, here's an opportunity to get involved. So again, it's tough to explain to some people that don't understand what a junior company does. We do it different than 99% of others, is that we try and build an asset base where we're not relying on having to sell cheap shares all the time to keep the lights on and move forward, just as we expected to get some cash back from our introduction of salmon gold to companies like Apple and Tiffany's. This operation here we're working with is by introducing moderately priced high-grade equipment to the Canadian marketplace. We'll get a finder's fee, if you will, an introductory fee that it could be anywhere from $100 to $10 million. We don't know, but the fact is, as I said to a shareholder, it's $100 more, $1 million more than we had 2 months ago. So we think it's pretty big. The Prime Minister of Canada, specifically, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, offered $600 million just for Indigenous people for the COVID operation. So our partners are Indigenous entrepreneurs, and I think we're the only ones in Canada, so we certainly have the backing from a lot of people. We're just waiting to hit the go button so we can start bringing it in. But these are all FDA approved South Korean companies, and obviously we're staying away from those that are being made in China for a number of reasons. And we think we got a pretty good situation going for us. So that's the latest installment of what we're doing above and beyond our mining. If you looked at the couple of news releases we put out about 2 weeks ago to say that we're still going ahead with our 10,000 ton bulk sample. We're working on our permits to get that to the British Columbia government. They're a little bit slow because of the COVID offices being shut down, and they're just reopening. But that's a heck of a project. As we know, we won't go on to talk about just the fact that we plan on putting it into production in 2 or 3 years under the small mines, very high grade. The preliminary economic assessment was based on a 1.6 year payback based on $1,300 gold and $17 silver. So as I said to a shareholder the other day, if it was, I forget the terminology they used, that it was great economics at $1,300 gold. Well, we know that this should be a little bit better at $1,700 gold. So that's our plan. And the other exploration that we have this year is we're going to be looking at some projects, some land assemblies up in the northern British Columbia region, which is now the hottest area on the planet. It's called the Golden Triangle. And with our First Nations partner, again, we're going to areas that have not been previously discovered because it was difficult to get in there with roads and all that. But now that the transportation's in, they've got hundreds of years of experience through their fishing and hunting and all that. So they've got areas that they think are pretty good. And we've been fortunate that we have gained the trust of the First Nations people, which is super important. So there's a couple other projects. One I would describe as probably mega that I would love to have announced by now, but until all the paperwork is signed, I really can't say anything. But again, it's in the resource industry. But if we manage to get it, I think the Deerhorn will be on the newspapers internationally for something that is absolutely huge. But again, we go to build our asset base, and most of the new shareholders or people that look at us, they're always waiting for the latest news release on drilling or whatever the case is. They don't understand that my previous company that I took from $4 million to $180 million sale is based on building assets, so that if the economy turns against you, whatever the case is, you're not in any limbo of worry about getting picked off or failing. So we keep our costs low, and we have some great opportunities coming. So I'm just really pleased. We're just building a great base.
Almost out of time, but I did want to mention, as I mentioned, you're duly listed here in the United States as GODYF, and you're working on becoming fully reporting. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we had a bit of a stumble there because with the COVID situation, my CFO was across the border from British Columbia in Point Roberts, Washington, so it made it a little bit difficult. But my understanding, talking with her today, that she'll have everything ready for filing Thursday with the brokerage firm that wants to sponsor us. So all things being equal, I think we can hopefully get on the pinks within a month or so, and then let your audience really tear into us because right now we're relatively cheap price as far as I'm concerned. But the one benefit of that, Don, I get to buy more shares all the time, which I did again the other day at 10 cents. So I don't mind. But one day, I guess my wife will say, for goodness sakes, can we ever sell some paper? But that's what I did in my last company. So very excited. So that's an unbelievable opportunity. We've got some great partners.
Deerhorn Capital Incorporated, listed in Canada, DHC, in the United States, GODYF. Ty, great update. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Hopefully talk to you sooner than 3 months next time. Thanks, Don. Cheers.